All right, so it's meal prep video 101. So I'm gonna go with like a one pot chili type of deal, all right? So I wouldn't usually use this kind of heathen stuff. We're at Riley's place and he's got Pam spray. I would usually just do a little bit of avocado oil, coconut oil, or I'd have an avocado spray or something like this. This is kind of for like your, you know, your people that are.
Show that I asked him what he wanted and he said he didn't care, so I just grabbed the first thing.
I was here and I witnessed it. He did ask you if you wanted.
Actually,
he did ask you what you wanted.
He actually held it for himself, which is a shame. You know, it's like now I'm gonna die of carcinogens, where he had it sitting there the entire time. But whatever, we'll go with that. So we're gonna get the heat going a little bit here, allow this to warm up. But I'm gonna do like a one pot chili type thing. This one's easy for me, especially like on the weekends. And it's one of those ones that anybody will eat. The kids will eat it, Christine will eat it, etc.
Dude, why you're just slamming.
Yeah, we're ready. We're good here. We're good here. So I got all my ingredients. This one's just, like I said, quick and easy. So we got our bone broth. I didn't want his bone broth, so I brought my own. I knew he'd have some. I got fire roasted tomatoes and some diced green chilies. And then we got our gluten-free chili powder. I do the gluten-free. Obviously, you can get any chili powder, but they actually always have wheat gluten in there, usually. I'm sorry, wheat flour in there. So obviously, if that's gonna upset the stomach at all, you wanna make sure that you get a gluten-free one because every chili powder that I found so far has the wheat flour in there.
Now, I noticed you're using ground bison instead of ground beef.
Of course I am. Of course I am. We're high quality around here.
Okay.
So I prefer ground bison big time, especially though with a recipe like this. To be honest, it's been so long since I've used any ground beef. I don't know how it would go with this. I'm sure ground beef would be fine, but for ground bison, even if you overcook it a little bit, it still comes out really tender, really soft, and delicious. So this is gonna simmer on the stove for a little while as the rice cooks. So you just wanna make sure that you're getting a beef that is, like I wouldn't do this with like a 96 lean beef probably, right?
No.
Yeah, I probably would do it with a 96 lean. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had a 96 lean beef, so it's, again, legitimately years since I've had anything that lean. So, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you can go with what works per your macros or per your meal plan. But ultimately, for me, it's gonna be a 90% lean bison here. And this isn't a meal that I would typically add any extra fats to anyway. You know, sometimes the meal might have some avocado or something like that. And while you can add, you know, maybe some raw cheese you can grate on top, maybe some avocado, something like that to be able to give it a little bit more oomph as far as the chili is concerned. But for me, this is a meal in and of itself, and that's the whole idea, is it's quick and easy.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna use one packet of this. One packet of this is obviously a pound, what's that, 500 grams? Actually, that doesn't sound quite right, but I think it's like 500 grams. So for me, this would be about 3 meals that I would split up. So you'll see when I do this in a few, the way that I do my rice is exactly that I'll put 3 servings of rice that I'd have per those meals. And then I know a lot of people get crazy about the way they track their macros and like doing a one pot meal like this. Like, how do I track it? I'm gonna track, this is 3 servings. So I'll track 1 serving of this. I don't give a shit about this. This is not enough to care about, right? Like one serving of this is 10 calories. So again, this is not enough for me to give a shit about. I'm not gonna track this. It's not enough for me to give a shit about. I'm not gonna track this, right? These are all in there for either taste, flavor, or the health benefit. All right, this I will track 1 serving of. This I will track 1 serving of, which I'm gonna do 3 servings out of this in total. So again, I'll do 1 and then this, like I said, I'm gonna put 150 grams of raw white rice in there, which I will weigh out or I will track in my chronometer as 50 grams per serving. Does that make sense? Yeah, everybody's with me on that? You sure, Dale?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put you on.
Spray. See how it changed colors like that? That's no bueno. That means it got too hot, it burnt. But if you're using avocado oil or coconut oil, you don't have to worry about that. So I would always recommend cooking with either an avocado oil, coconut oil, butter, or even a spray that's available for those now. And obviously we want to make sure we get all this out. Try not to get my hands dirty. We'll go with that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go in now. You can see where the beef is at. It's not 100% done yet, but again, that's because we're gonna be cooking it for a long period of time. So it's brown enough for me. I'm gonna go in with my diced tomatoes. Ooh, you got a can opener? You better, you never know with the 20-something-year-old, so he doesn't have a can opener.
You gotta let me find it. I think I've opened a can once. In this house.
He buys the ones that already have the lid on top where you can just pop it open.
There we go.
Wow.
There
See
we
how far
go.
back it was in my drawer?
He came through. He came through.
Fancy.
So with this, go right in there.
What is that?
Green chilies. Nice green chilies.
Green chilies are always good, just to add a little bit of flavor.
All right, so we'll go with that, and then you have another measuring cup or no?
Yeah, in the cabinet.
I'm so glad that we came to Riley's house to film this because now he's got all this extra fucking
Stuff I have to clean up?
yeah. Exactly.
So he's basically saying, I cooked, you clean.
Oh, I was never sure we were going to be able to open it.
Let's just so
That would have been kind of scary if
He
you
would have
wouldn't.
never in his life asked me to open that jar.
no.
He
Do
was
you have a
throwing
scale?
Another scale?
Yeah.
There's one right there that's black one.
So I actually like to measure this out because I'm usually going with a specific amount of rice. I want a very specific amount of beef broth, so I'm gonna go with 300 grams. I'll probably go a little bit less just because the tomatoes and the green chilies are gonna add some liquid. So I'm gonna go with like 275 grams of beef broth. So I usually go double the amount of liquid that I'm going in for my rice, and we're gonna do 150 grams of rice. So that's 280, that'll be plenty. We'll go in with that.
Look here. Is it done,
we'll
is it
go
done
in.
yet?
Not quite yet. Oh wait, we gotta bring that to a boil.
Before you add. Then there's your seasoning.
Yep, seasoning's gonna go in. And we'll let all this work together while we bring it to a light simmer. All right, usually I would use a sushi rice. It's my go-to, but I brought this with me just for easy travel purposes, so I had exactly what I needed for the videos at Riley's.
So what is the difference between your sushi rice and this?
Just taste.
Taste?
I prefer the texture of a sushi rice.
It's sticky.
Yeah, it's a little sticky. It's a little bit more al dente. All right, so we got this to a simmer now. We're gonna go ahead and throw in our 150 grams of white rice.
Do you want to redo that?
What's that?
Boil.
You got to boil.
A simmer. Boil. Whatever. What the fuck is the difference between a simmer and a goddamn boil? No, I'm sorry, fucking Bobby Flay. All right, so I'm gonna go in with this rice.
I didn't know you were Gordon Ramsay.
So we gotta get all this out. We gotta get all this out. Yeah, give me something to work with here, Riley. I don't know who has, like, what is this, a TikTok thing? This ground beef masher? Why can't you just use like a regular spatula like a normal person?
You used it, right? And you liked it. Well, that's nice, yeah.
When you're based out of necessity.
When you're cooking for to eat pounds of beef at a time, you need that. That's what
So
sucks.
I might have a little bit left in this container here, but I'm just gonna, we'll survive.
That's good.
Yeah, I was 4 grams over anyway. So I'm gonna put the lid back on. I'm gonna bring that back to a little bit less, so it's by their standards, by Riley and Dale standards, it's a simmer now, not a boil. So we're gonna bring this to a simmer. We're gonna let this do for 15 minutes. How do I put this timer on here, guy? Timer.
Jesus.
We'll go for 15 minutes, and I can just leave it. Start. Boom. All right. So we'll be back in 15 minutes. All right. So we're all good now. We let the rice cook for 15 minutes. Right, and then I left it sitting for what, 15 minutes, another 15 minutes before we open it up. So this is what we're working with, which that kind of doesn't have the most appealing look to it. But once we get in that bitch and we start moving some things around, right, this is where the magic happens now. Oh, look, we overcooked a little bit at the bottom. That's how you know the good stuff is there. So now, like I said, for me personally, and this obviously comes out to a lot of volume here. Right, with obviously some of the added veggies that are in there are gonna add a little bit, but it's really just a volumizing rice, the liquid that we put in there. So this can be just 3 meals for me. And again, I'm looking at basically dividing that pounds of bison that I had, 1 serving of the can of tomatoes, and then 50 grams of raw weight rice. And that's essentially it. That's all I have to track, and I'm good to go. So this is super easy. The prep time itself was really super quick, super easy. You put the rice on, you let it sit, and then it's just about wait time to have this done. And again, it's a huge pot that can feed you over 3 meals, and I'm sure for a lot of you over 3 meals. This is just my portion size, right? And or it's enough for you and the family.